All right, here we are, Friday after work. The weekend has begun, and why not do a bike review video? So the last one of these I did was with my son's Diamondback Moonraker from Sport Check. It's not a bad bike, but we're gonna do one here on the Norco Charger A2, which is a bike I just picked up recently, about a month ago from a bike shop called Pedalworks here in Swift Current. Really good little bike shop, so I recommend them. And I actually had to decide between this bike and another bike, the Norco Storm 120. And so with this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously go over what this bike has, but I'm also going to throw some comparisons to that other bike, the Norco Storm 120, just to give you an idea as to what my thought process was with choosing between the two. So anyway, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the frame. Now, if you look at that top tube, it runs literally straight through it, like pretty much a straight line through the seat stays. And the Storm 120 actually doesn't have the top tube coming down as far, so there is a bit of an angle there. But this one, you can clearly see it does, and what that does in comparison to the bottom tube doesn't give you a lot of room in between there, and we'll get to that in a second. The other thing about the frame, if we talk about the headset for a second, within the headset are sealed bearings. So instead of loose bearings, like loose ball bearings, they're sealed. And that's something I've never really dealt with before. Like, this is literally my first, for myself, my first bike shop bike. So normally I'm getting department store bikes just because of cost. So this one's actually a step up for me. If we talk about also the seat post, okay, we'll get in a little closer here. So the seat post is a dropper seat post via cable. So if we come around here, that's the cable right there. So I just have to hit that, and that pops the seat back up. I got it down a little bit right now, so what I'll do is I'll hit that lever. So it does have a cable dropper seat post, which is pretty cool. So does the Storm 120. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got for the frame right now. The forks themselves also coming off the frame here. The forks on these have 130 millimeters of travel versus the Storm 120. I'm guessing the name for the 120 is the fact it's got 120 millimeters of travel. The difference between the two of those bikes, or two of these bikes, so this one is air, okay, so very tunable. And that was actually a big deciding factor for me in getting this bike, whereas the Storm 120 is a coil, okay, and it's not air. All right, and now we're going to move on to the drivetrain. So as you can see here, this is actually a 12-speed 1x12. The derailleur is Shimano Dior, and so are the shifters. So everything regarding drivetrain is Shimano Dior. It's, like I said, it's 12-speed, and being a 12-speed, it's quite narrow in between the cogs there. So of course it has the narrower style chain, which once again, that's new for me. So it doesn't have the standard size chain. The Storm 120, sorry, is a 10-speed, and it has a little more room in between the cogs. And I was told by the bike shop owner that it does actually take a standard chain. So that's cool. And the shifters, of course, they're cable as well. Moving on to the brakes. The brakes are Tektro hydraulic brakes, okay? And everything regarding the brakes, the levers, okay, the disc. You can see the disc through the spokes there. It's dual disc, so it's got a disc front and back. Everything is Tektro, so they're hydraulic. Once again, that's new to me, and the Storm 120 has that as well. Now, the wheels. So both bikes sport the Maxxis Forecasters. I'm not 100% sure the width. I think it's the same on the 120 as it is on this bike, but these are 29-inch wheels. The tires are 29 inch by 2.4 for width, and we have a train, so I have to pause. Ah, yes, the beauty of living beside the tracks. Okay, now going back to the tires here. So Maxxis Forecasters 29 by 2.4. Presta valves. That's new to me. I've never had Presta valves before. I'm used to the Schrader, so that's cool. The tires themselves do not say on them tubeless ready or anything like that, so I don't think they are. However, the rims are WTB ST I-27, and they do say on them tubeless ready. So moving forward, if I ever decide and to get different rubber on these things that are, I may go down that route. I haven't committed yet. I've only had this bike for so long. We'll roll with what we got for now. Okay. Within the hubs on these wheels, they too have the sealed bearings as well, just like in the headset. So front and back. So I recently changed out well, I didn't change out. I cleaned out and cleaned all the ball bearings and whatnot, and cleaned out the hub on my previous bike. And it's not that big a deal, honestly. It's actually not that bad of a job. This, I guess, may be easier. At least I'm not going to have any ball bearings running around, or at least I shouldn't, or else we have bigger problems. But anyway, I just figured I'd let you know that yes, sealed bearings within the hubs themselves. Also, the type of axles are through axles on this particular bike, on both the front and back, and on the, I think they're dropout through axles, I think they're what they're called, but anyway, they through axles. And the Storm 120 actually has the quick release ones with the skewer going through, and honestly, I thought I'd prefer that, but I actually don't mind this. The only problem I have with this is it's unfortunately I can't pull a trailer with this particular setup. There are adapters out there, so through axles that actually have an end on them for trailering, and so I will have to invest in that here pretty quick, because I like to ride to work sometimes, and I normally got to pull a trailer with, my lunch, water, work boots, that sort of thing. So excuse me again. Yeah, so that it is possible, just I can't do it right now. So what got me going between this and the 120, for starters, price. Okay, yeah, price was the big one. So the price on this one comes in at $1,429 MRSP, and the Storm 120 is $1,099 MRSP. The bike shop here sells at MRSP value. He's a small bike shop. He's not like, bikes aren't flying out the door sort of thing where he can be reducing it from that value, because, you know, I guess he's got to make a dollar too, right? So and I can't complain, but yeah, price was a factor. I almost went with the Storm 120. And so another little feature here between that bike and this, like I said, the frame on this goes straight on through that top tube to the seat stays, whereas it's up a little more on the Storm 120. And of course, what goes on there is, oh, frog in the throat. The space in between the bottom tube and the top tube, as clearly here, is fairly narrow. But what this has compared to the Storm 120 is 3 spots for accessories versus the Storm's 2. Now I'm good with 2, but this has 3. My previous bike had 2, so I'd always run 2 water bottles. But as you can see, the space from here to here is pretty small, so all you can put in here is either one of those smaller, like 500 ml water bottles that aren't insulated. What I have in here actually is just a cup with tools in them. Whereas on the Storm 120, obviously you're going to have more room in there. Which, you know, I weighed my thoughts on that as well. So yeah, there was price, there was that. Storm 120 is written on the website. These are both part of Norco's cross-country lines, okay? So Norco has a cross-country line of bikes, and the Chargers, the Storms, and there's another one, I can't remember the name of it, that are within that particular line of bikes. And this one is built, they talk about trail, okay? Whereas a Storm 120 is an all-arounder, good on the trail, good on the streets. It's just an all-arounder bike, which I literally almost went for that. I'm like, okay, do I need 12 gears? I could get away with 10, you know? And so far, what you're missing on the 120 is 2 and 4. Because the biggest ring there is actually the same size as on the Storm 120. So really, do I need those gears? I really didn't think I would, because first of all, price, we're talking a little over $300 there, right? So I hummed and hawed for a while, and it was actually the like I said, the forks, the shocks. That's what sold me on this one. You know, and I'm happy with, I utilize pretty much a good chunk of those things on the trail, and this thing handles like a beaut on the trail compared to my old bike, which I actually didn't mind riding the trail with my old bike, but this is just a step up and a half. And I'm sure the Storm 120 would have been as well, but yeah, this one is pretty good. The unfortunate thing is, like, this is in a medium, and all he had for me to try out when I actually went and tried out the bikes, giving them a ride, see how they fit, all he had was a large, and honestly, that large felt pretty good in the Storm 120 for me, but he didn't have a medium. And I wanted to make sure I wasn't oversized on the trail. Riding around town is one thing, but on the trail I want to have as much control as I can. And this particular bike fits the bill, and honestly, I couldn't try out the 120 in a medium because he didn't have one. And had I just waited, he was getting more in, but alas, when I learned about the shocks, that's when I made my decision, and I decided I'm just going to go with this bike, and here we are. The difference between this and the Charger A1 is Dior brakes, as far as I know, different shocks, and the color, and I prefer the color of the A1 to this color. That's the only knock I really have on this bike, is the color. but you get what you get. I'm just not a silver type guy, versus the A1 I think is like a greenish thing, and just that color kind of fits me more. The Storm 120 is like a goldish brown. Um, Actually looks pretty sharp, to tell you the truth. I didn't think I'd like it, but having a look at it, the pictures online don't do it justice. Seeing it in person, it's actually a pretty cool color on that bike. So anyway, that's all I got. And yeah, any questions, don't hesitate to ask.